Good morning, students. Welcome to the series on literature review. First video of the series is what is literature review? As all of us know, a literature review is an integral part of a research article, research proposal, or research report or dissertation. We can define it. Literature review is a critical review of published information in a particular subject area and sometimes within a certain time period. So if you are doing a research on complications of diabetes, so you have to collect all the published information on complications of diabetes. After that, you have to have a critical review of it. Critical review of all articles published on complications of diabetes and make a review. That is known as literature review. You have to define the time period. All research articles on complications of diabetes which are published from 2000 to 2020, or you can define the time period. Now we can see what is a literature. Literature refers to the information relevant to the topic of interest. If your topic of interest is complication of diabetes, all the information published on the topic of interest. Sources of literature can be primary source, secondary source, or tertiary source. Let us go through what is a primary source. Primary source include all the original research published on the topic. If you are looking for original research published on complication of diabetes, so you have to check the journals and research articles which are published on complication of diabetes. They are original articles, and you can get proceedings of conferences also. Proceedings are the books published related to the conference. So all original research presented in that conference will be there in the proceedings book. So that also can be considered as primary source. And a primary source can be unpublished research articles also. If you go to an university and look for all theses there which are unpublished, and look for the original research completed on the topic, okay, that will be a primary source. Secondary source means if you are reading a research article, they will be mentioning about other research. Okay, if you are reading an article by XYZ, so he will be mentioning that Mr. ABC had found in their research that these are the findings. Mr. DEF found in their research these are the findings, like that. So uh, secondary source means you are reading an article and looking for the mention about other research article. So secondary source include references from another article, evaluations or reviews, report or synthesis of original research. Okay, so if you are reading a systematic review article, there may be mention about 100 research. The findings of 100 research will be mentioned in that systematic review article. Those 100 research information comes under secondary source. Meta-analysis of article. They will be collecting uh, data from multiple studies and giving you the information. So that will come under secondary source. Tertiary source means if you read a textbook, it will be giving information about primary source along with information about secondary source. They will be mentioning that Mr. XYZ did a study on complication of diabetes and these are the findings. That will be primary source information in a textbook. Secondary source may be as per the systematic review done by so and so. These are the findings from multiple research. Then they will be quoting multiple research in it. So that will be secondary source. So in tertiary source will be a combination of primary source plus secondary source. So textbook is an example of tertiary source. So primary source means you go to British Medical Journal or American Journal of Epidemiology and get the finding. That is primary source. Secondary source means you get a systematic review or Cochrane review and get findings of multiple studies. That is secondary source. Tertiary source, if you open a textbook and get information about primary source plus secondary source. That is tertiary source. Okay. Why do we write literature reviews? Okay, so you may be thinking that why to write literature review? Literature review give you a handy guide to a particular topic. All information about that research topic will be there inside the literature review. So it is a handy guide. Okay, then literature review can give you an overview or act as a stepping stone for conducting a research. Okay, by reading the literature review, you can start a research. You can identify the knowledge gaps and you can prepare a research or prepare a proposal for a research to fill that research gap. Then third one, literature review provide a solid background for a research paper's investigation. So when you are expressing the objective of your research, you can say, okay, objective was prepared based on the literature review. For professionals, they are useful reports that keep them up to date with what is current in the field. So professionals can always carry the literature review with them. So look at the current best available evidence, which is latest in the field. Then last and a very important use of literature review is it can help in evidence-based practice. If you are a doctor, if you are a nurse, if you are a pharmacist, you can apply the evidence in your practice and you can practice based on the latest available evidence. How we will know the latest available evidence? You can do a literature review and get the latest available information on the research topic or practice topic. Okay. Central focus of literature review, what is that? To summarize and synthesize the arguments and ideas of others without adding new contribution. So, when you are writing a literature review, you are summarizing it and synthesizing it. Summarizing means you are collecting information from multiple studies, synthesizing it. You are combining it together and writing a report. Okay, that is literature review. What you are summarizing, arguments and ideas of others, which are published or presented in various sources. Okay, can be primary source, secondary source or tertiary source without adding new contribution. In literature review, each and every sentence should be referenced. Don't add your insight into it. You just collect the information from multiple studies and put it. In a literature review, central focus is examining and evaluating what has been said before on a topic and establishing the relevance of this information to your own research. So, you are examining and evaluating what is already published on the topic and then establishing the relevance of this information to your own research. So you are why that information is important for you. Then you are linking to your proposal or to your research topic. Okay, another central focus. Okay, as already told, you can identify what is not said in the literature on the subject. So what is not done, or what is not researched, or what is not said in the research topic. That is known as knowledge gap, otherwise known as gap in the literature. There are some areas in the literature where no research is done. Okay, so what your proposed research is going to do, your proposed research is going to fill that knowledge gap, filling such knowledge gaps with new knowledge. So your research will be the new knowledge which is filling the knowledge gap in the literature. Okay, that will be a particular interest or student research. So your research is going to find the knowledge gap and fill the knowledge gap with a new knowledge. Okay, you may also need to discuss the methodologies that have been used in the literature and how these relate to your chosen method. So you can find out multiple studies are done on the topic and they were using multiple methods, multiple research methods. So that can be used to justify your method. You can use the same method and you can quote that this method was done there. You can use a different new method and tell that the new method will be more advantageous because that method is not used in the previous research. Okay, so you need to discuss the methodologies of previous research also in the literature review, so that you can justify your methodology based on the methodology of the previous research. How to select appropriate source material? So you have to select the source material, right? If you Google for complication of diabetes, there may be thousands or millions of articles. How to choose it? You have to choose the articles based on relevance and authority. Okay, what literature to be selected for your review? Okay, so these are the two criteria. One is relevance, second is authority. Relevance means the research article should contribute to the development of your topic or to provide useful primary source material. So it should be relevant. If you are doing a research on complications of diabetes, don't choose studies on uh, uh, clinical manifestations of diabetes. So you have to focus on complications of diabetes. Understood? Authority. So you are getting lot of research articles. So you choose those published by the authoritative organization, by CDC, by WHO, or some scientists working on diabetes, or some senior doctors working on diabetes. Their publication will have more authority than a blog or a newspaper article. So authority means the article should be published in a reputable journal. So you can look for good journal like British Journal of Medicine, Malaysian Journal of Medical Science, or some good journal you can choose. Have been critically evaluated. So those journals should be peer-reviewed journal. Peer-reviewed journal means they will be maintaining a quality or recognized authority in the area. So as I told earlier, can be a doctor who is working in the field or an organization which is working in the field. It should be recent research or still be influential in the area. So these are the introduction about what is a literature review. In the next video, we will see the steps of doing literature review.